getting started,
Mhm.
Who are you?
Well, I can give my little spiel that I usually give. I'm Bennett, or PJLily. I always say you can call me whatever you want. I had someone call me, I think, Genevieve today. So
That's
you can call me whatever you want. I'm Bennett. I'm PJLily. I stream a lot of Dead by Daylight. I stream in my pajamas because they're more comfortable than regular clothes. I have about 11 different onesies that I cycle through on stream. This is one of my favorites because it's nice and thin, because if you could imagine streaming in a onesie for 5 to 6 hours, it gets really hot, especially when you live in Texas. It's not cold. It's pretty great. So this is one of my favorites. I also have a rainbow unicorn one. I have a flying squirrel. I got a whole bunch of stuff. I got a whole arsenal. I even have a Twitch onesie that's broken at the moment. It's in the shop. The shop being my closet. But yeah, I'm Bennett. I stream a lot of DBD. Dead by Daylight is a great game. It's really fun. I love streaming it. Great community.
Now, how did you get into Dead by Daylight?
So initially, I have the worst decision-making choices on what games I play because I have no idea. But I have great friends who know what kind of games I like. And last summer, one of my friends reached out to me. He's like, hey, you should get this game. It's $20. It's really fun. We have like a group chat of a whole bunch of other people who are playing it. Like, get this game. It'll be really cool. I was like, you know what? Okay. I have $20 to spare. I bought Dead by Daylight. And I played it, I played it on and off a couple times. And I probably put like 100 hours into the game, which for a lot of people is a lot. But for most people, it's like,
for a streamer, that's not.
Yeah, that's like you put 100 hours into a game you've just started, pretty much. So I played a little bit, and then I kind of just put it to the side, started playing other games. But I would come back to it every once in a while. I was like, I always enjoyed this game. There was nothing like really wrong with it. I just started playing different games and started putting hours into different games. And then I was at like a little impasse with my stream, which we'll probably touch on later. At one point in time where I was like, I don't know what to stream. I don't want to stream what I've been streaming. I feel like I'm not entertaining. I feel like I'm boring. I am not having fun, and that's not big for me. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm going to stream Dead by Daylight today. Why not? And I was like, okay, it was like a shorter stream. I was streaming with a friend. I was like, it was a fun stream. So I was like, I went and I streamed like Tetris the next day or something. And then I came back and I was like, I really like this game, and I'm going to try streaming it again. And I'm the type of person that I look up to variety streamers because I cannot play multiple games at a time. My brain just gets so confused. I want to play a game that I can put, thousands of hours in and still enjoy and keep enjoying it. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give Dead by Daylight a shot. If I don't like it after 200 hours, we'll switch to something else again. And 750 hours later, I'm hanging out here, which is, grand scheme of things, is nothing compared to the amount of people who have like 5K hours in the game.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's one of the games that people log a tremendous amount of hours.
It's been crazy. It was released in like 2016. There are people with almost 6,000 hours in the game, which is crazy.
How long have you been streaming?
I have been streaming since December of 2017. I didn't start taking it seriously probably till March of 2017 or 2018. 2018, not. That's
pretty good to go backwards.
Not going backwards in time. No.
I took it seriously, and then 6 months later, I started.
Yeah. That's how it goes. So I've been on Twitch since around 2014. I originally started watching a little bit of. I've actually been on Twitch longer. I started watching Call of Duty like back in the day, but then I actually first made my account in 2014. I started watching this mobile app called Summoner's War, and I kind of just stuck around. Ended up hanging out in a lot of Pokemon streams, and decided one day, hey, you know what? Why not give it a shot? That's what I did.
Who was your go-to streamer when you first got started watching? Like the person that you were like, man, when I got that notification, I knew their schedule. I'm catching at least 30 minutes of what they're doing.
So I had a couple streams, but the big man in the Pokemon community who I still love to this day, his name's A-Drive. He goes by Dan. He was a big shiny hunter, which means pretty much in Pokemon, if you don't know what a shiny is, it's a alternate colored version of the Pokemon that if you do certain methods to, you can find. And he pretty much started shiny hunting on Twitch. And I would catch all of his streams. And one day he did a giant marathon. It was like, I think it was 251 hours with two other people. So they were rotating in like 8-hour shifts for a couple days. They were all at his house. It was a whole, like, it was awesome. And I was sitting there, I was like up, I was on my laptop, like shiny hunting alongside him. And this was probably like July of 2017. I think I can't remember when the exact date was, but and he introduced me to a streamer named Crimson Seabad, who was probably the first streamer that I actively chatted with. I never really chatted with A-Drive. He had a lot of people in his chat, and I felt like overwhelmed. I was very new to Twitch. I was like a little 16-year-old, like,
oh, it's the hi, I'm here and I'm a lurker. Thanks.
yeah. I was. I literally. I didn't even say anything. I would just like watch. I was like enthralled. Like if I saw my comment go, I was like, oh my gosh, I was in his Twitch stream. Like that was actually me. I think I did say that once or twice, but we don't talk about that. So he introduced me to his friend named Chase, and because he was on that marathon with him, and I knew his entire schedule. I would always be in his stream, even when I was at work. I made it like integrated into my system. Okay, even if you're at work, you have to go outside and send a quick message and say hey, at least, and do something like that. So that was the first time I like really was actively participating in a stream.
What took you from it's very fun to watch, these people are very cool, very interesting, I'm starting to interact, I'm starting to be part, to okay, I'm going to stream?
Honestly, it's a pretty simple answer. I took some time off school to deal with like mental health and just try to get myself in a better place before I went back and stretched myself so thin. It was awful. But I took some time off school and I had all this open time, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. My girlfriend, who I lived with at the time, was going to school. She was going to classes. So I was, sitting in an apartment by myself, and I was like, I'm bored of watching TV. So one night while she was home on winter break, I was just like, I was up late, I was on my computer, and I was like, might as well do some research on how to start this. So it took me like a week and a half. I thought I got everything set up to where, it wasn't like going to just break down instantly when I clicked streaming. I did have, terrible internet and ran at like a 4K bitrate at first, which was broke down and killed everything. I didn't know what happened. But I mean, it was honestly, I was just bored. I didn't have anything to do. I was like, I'd seen these people do it before. I wasn't trying to, make it big or anything like that. I was just like, it's something to do. And I didn't have a lot of people to talk to. And I was like, maybe I'll meet some friends. And I ended up meeting some of the coolest people I know. So
when were you like, this is what I want to be doing?
I think it was a big part of it was I also started streaming right as Fortnite came out. So I played season 1 through 4 of Fortnite, but the entire time I played season 1, I played by myself. I didn't have any friends online to play with. I had one friend, and he was always playing. I think his big game is Dota. So he was always on Dota, and I was just like, I'm never going to get you off Dota, so we're never going to play a game together. And all my other friends like didn't play or anything like that, and it wasn't cross-platform at the time. So I was just like, I was tired of playing by myself. And I think the real big part, it wasn't streaming as a sense of just, I found people who I really loved and loved being around by streaming. I think it was the biggest moment to me was actually when I got accepted into this little group of just Pokemon streamers. And I looked up to all of them. I think I had maybe 100 followers at the time. I looked up to every single one of them in there, and I thought they were all amazing. And then I like reached out to one of them in his DMs. I was like, hey, like I saw you're in this group. I don't really know what this group's about. And he was just like, sure, let me go talk to some people and see if we can add you in. And originally it is unfortunately named the Booty Nips, which it was an inside joke that I wasn't a part of, but I actually found the coolest friends. I actually live really close to one of them, and he was the reason that I moved out here anyway. And he was in the Booty Nips Nation, as they called it. And then it eventually evolved and kind of dissipated from what it used to be. But I found people that streamed and that took it seriously, and they didn't have, they weren't doing it full time. And I finally found people that were doing this like kind of half, just like part time, and they were just doing it for fun. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it just rocketed from there. I went from streaming, an hour and a half to 2 hours every day to I wanted to stream for 4 hours. I wanted to be live as much as I could. Like I just wanted to stream. And I think I streamed I streamed so much. Well, back then I streamed so much. I probably streamed, a lot less than I do now.
Yeah.
But
But it feels like a ton.
It felt like a ton to me. I was like, I'd get off stream and I was like,
Yeah.
plus I had an old chair that was, oh God, that chair. It was like sitting on metal. It was awful. Hated that chair.
Yep. I have a stool.
Oh, that must hurt your back.
2 hours. That's my max. 2 hours.
That must hurt your back. Yeah, these OPC, it's wonderful. This is Chairmillion, as we call her. She's great. But yeah, it was just the meeting of people who, did this part-time and really enjoyed doing it, and just like having these people that I formed genuine friendships with. Like up until then, I had like a few people who would come in. Like I knew a few people. I got a raid from like one of the streamers that I looked up to, but I still wasn't like sold.
Yeah.
And then like as soon as I got in this group, I was just like, I'm sold. And I think the longest break I've taken streaming has been 2 weeks, and it was for a vacation.
We kind of come to Twitch and we bounce around the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do the lurking, you're trying to find like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But like the first times I got into a chat that had a stream that had less than 6 people, and they noticed that I joined without me talking, I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm scared. Too much. Which is funny.
That still scares me to this day. I'm just like, I'm just here to check you out, man. Like, I'm sorry. I know you have your viewer list up. I'm just like, I'm just here.
I'm just watching. I'm
just here.
Yeah. And then we start to find like, oh yeah, this is a group that I kind of like. And then there's a comment that happens in chat, which a lot of times isn't even related to the streamer. We're like, oh, I replied to the comment, and they replied back to me, and now the streamer's talking to me, and this is going well. Like this is kind of an okay thing. And it becomes super addictive. And then you start going from the outside to kind of working your way in. And then you build this whole group of people that, you look forward to seeing every day. It goes from, these are my online friends to these are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's super addictive. And it's, from a mental health aspect, is insanely beneficial.
I always venture to say Twitch was part of the reason that I was at a point where I was at my very lowest. I had a hard time going outside. My anxiety was just skyrocketing, and I've always been an extrovert. I've never been an introvert. You've met my mother. I get it from her, but I am all over the place. I've always been just super energetic. I have ADHD. I have the whole thing, but Twitch is where I finally like got on there, and I felt like I can actually be myself here, and people aren't going to like crucify me and be like, no, you have to be, this and this to be our friends. And I was not putting up with that. But I was at a point where I didn't really have anyone. And then I started being on Twitch, and even my girlfriend always says, she's just like, he is more himself on Twitch than he is anywhere else, because it just gives him an excuse to be a complete idiot. I'm still the kid that, pushes the shopping cart and hops on. I'm 21 years old. I'm just like, yeah, riding the shopping cart.
Twitch is like, we're the island of misfit toys.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bunch of people who maybe don't quite fit how the mold was supposed to look,
mm-hmm.
which makes us insanely unique. And we all kind of found each other in this island of misfit toys. And it's this glorious, beautiful place of this, insane creativity and individuality and inspiration. I mean,
it goes on.
Yeah.
Like I have people who come into my stream who are, 50 plus years old. I have people who come in who were, 13. Like,
yeah,
I kid, and we're all just there. Like we've all been through different stuff in our life. And for a lot of people, this is their first time having, friends who aren't like, who don't judge them on the way they look or the way they sound or anything like that. Or if they have a hard time, communicating with people, like it's easier to sit behind a keyboard and type. I have a lot of people who are super shy, and they're just like, I will not talk to you I will not talk to you in real life. I will just leave you alone. I'm just like, but like being behind the keyboard gives them that confidence to just be themselves. And it's so cool to see, especially people that are at first even super shy on Twitch that just like blossom into these people. And you're just like, this is so cool to like get to meet you and get to talk to you. And that's my favorite part.
The moment someone opens up is incredible to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so cool.
It's probably the best. It's the greatest. I have a lovely friend. Her name is Pebble. She has spent almost 850 hours in my stream. She has been a supporter from the day one, but honestly, she showed up almost every day. She didn't say much. She was very, very, very quiet. She would just chime in with a few things, never really even emote or anything like that. But as the time went on, no matter what games I was playing, no matter what I was doing, she was there and she just stayed there. And she, like, as we got to talking, she would start every once in a while, she would just send me like a funny meme through the DMs, and I would just like laugh my butt off because she's quiet, like she doesn't say anything, and then she sends me like this random meme. I'm just like dying of laughter. And I figured out she's an amazing artist, an amazing cook. She has a beautiful cat, and she just became one of my favorite people to talk to. Like, no matter how much I talk to her, I never get tired of it. And it was so cool to see her just go from this little tiny, like, quiet, shy. Her name on Twitch is actually Pebble Shy. Like, she is very, very shy, but she is just the sweetest and just one of the greatest people that I have ever met. I have a lot of people in my stream like that. Pebble's the big one. Pebble was actually the first person I ever VIP'd as well. And I didn't VIP anyone for like a month and a half after that. I just let her have it.
Be like,
she deserved it. She'd been in my stream forever, and she's the greatest.
So you mentioned earlier in our conversation, I don't remember if it was before or after our introduction, but that you had a moment on your stream that was almost like a crisis point.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like it was a decision-making point of what way you were going to take your stream. Am I talking about that?
So this was probably the hardest thing I ever had to overcome as a streamer. And I had streamed Pokemon for a year. Almost a year. Off and on. Like, I would stream other games in between and then still stream Pokemon. But I had streamed Pokemon for a year entirely. And I was at a point, I guess it happened twice. The first time it was kind of like, needless to say, I didn't fully commit to it. I kind of reverted back into playing Pokemon. I love the Pokemon community and everything that they've ever done for me. And I always say this. I found myself not having as much fun as I first did when I first started streaming Pokemon, because I was doing something that I kind of liked, but I didn't really enjoy that much. I was pretty much shiny hunting, was doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Also the definition of insanity. But I loved doing it. I just liked doing it when I was doing something else, like just in the background. And I felt myself just like kind of losing the sense of myself and who I was. And I didn't fully commit to it until like April, May of this year, actually, when I've actually talked to a whole bunch of people who say the hardest thing they ever had to do was switch games. Okay. Because in reality, variety streamers on Twitch it's very hard to make it as a variety streamer. There's a lot of amazing ones out there, Zeke being one of them, Ezekiel the Third, Go Carnage, Professor Broman, amazing variety casters. But I personally didn't like that. I liked to stream one game. I liked to have people who knew about the game and were just chiming in on this game, and the hardest thing for me to do was pretty much not say goodbye to the Pokemon community. I still talk to a ton of people who play Pokemon and a ton of people who stream Pokemon, but say goodbye to it for my stream, to say goodbye to having it on my stream. And it was very hard, because I had all of these people who had been in my stream be like, when are you going to play Pokemon again? And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it hurt a lot. Like, it crushed my soul. I was just like, I really hope, like, I thought we made like a connection, I thought we I know that, like, I thought we were friends. And it's not like that we aren't friends. It's that, they want to go watch Pokemon and I'm not streaming Pokemon.
Yeah.
Obviously. So it was just like, it took a toll on me a little bit, because I was just like, it hurt, because I had this community of people. Yep. And I still had a great community that followed me through, which is, I'm forever grateful for every single one. But leaving was hard.
It's got to be hard. I mean, there's definitely people that I watch because I like the game that they play and how they play it. Mm-hmm. And I watch them more so for the game than the personality.
Right.
Like their capability, their interest. I like that.
Right. I think I would say everybody has those streamers.
Exactly. I mean, we all have our favorite games. Mm-hmm. But coming from the streamer, you talked so much about how much you loved your community and how your community has really helped you get through a hard time. And they helped you kind of become who you are now. and to have that community, and then when you do the switch, there's going to be some people that just don't follow you.
Mm-hmm.
I can see
Completely.
how that would be, how that could be jarring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if it's, you know, one person.
Right. Like I never cared about the numbers on Twitch. I cared about the people behind, the username. I cared about these people that I made bonds with that I still like. That's my favorite part of streaming, is making bonds with these people that come in and say hi to me, and like being able to talk to them about their life. And if they're having a bad day, being like, hey, like I can't do much sitting behind a screen, but I can give you a big old smile. Like I can tell you it's going to be okay. Like I have your back if you ever need anything. But when you have those people, then you lose them. You understand the reasoning why. Like,
Yeah.
I streamed Pokemon for a year. Like I had a lot of people who watched me stream Pokemon. And I still have a lot of people from the Pokemon community, but just losing those couple people, I was just like, man, like I miss you. Like that was the big thing. Like that was the hardest thing, is I missed these people. It wasn't like I missed them. I missed them for, being a number or anything like that. I missed them for them. I just missed talking to them. And I felt like I lost connections to a lot of these people, but I also felt like I formed better connections with a whole bunch of other people too. So
yeah. Well, it's like any change in life. I mean, there's good that comes from it, but there's that moment of, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Is the good gonna be coming? And it's usually that very instance of change is the like buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Maybe this wasn't the right choice.
Yeah. I mean,
and it looks like, so I took a peek at some of your streams and it seems like the right choice for you. It looks like it's gone really nicely for you. And
it's, the first time I did it, I streamed Destiny for a month. It was October of 2018. I still remember that month because I had so much fun. Like I was streaming Destiny. I was still new to the game. I was just having a good time with it. I ended up not streaming it because I didn't really enjoy streaming. I didn't feel like there was a big entertainment factor to it, just because a lot of it's kind of, it's an MMO. It's AFK grinding. It's like doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I still love the game. I still played the game a lot, but in that moment, I was kind of just like, okay, this isn't going to work for me. So I started doing other things. Also, coming from a Pokemon stream, the big thing is Pokemon streamers are great at reading chat. They are the best streamers at reading chat.
Yeah,
I will hands down fight for anyone who says the other thing, just because they're not like super actively playing a game. They're pretty much sitting there doing one little tiny thing with their hands. I still have the muscle memory down. Doing one tiny thing with their hands, and they're reading chat and glancing at the screen, their game occasionally. So going from that to playing Destiny, where I was like actually involved, and then I felt like I missed something. I was like, oh no, like I felt terrible because I'd been part of a community where if you didn't read like a message, it was just like, you didn't read a message. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So going from that, I kind of stopped. I ended up doing Marbles on Stream, which is an interactive Twitch game, for a while. I loved doing that, but I found myself also in the same boat as Pokemon. I got really burnt out really fast. And then I just picked up Dead by Daylight, and I was like, you know what? What's the shot?
And Dead by Daylight seems like a really nice blend, because it's there's moments of intense action, which are entertaining as a player. Yeah, because it changes it to there's you have to react to other people, and you have to save people, you have to run, so it's a whole gauntlet of emotions and whatnot. But there's also moments where it's slow, where you can't do anything in between games when XY happens. So it's a nice mix of like, okay, well now I can focus on chat for a little bit and talk with that, and now I can focus on play. So it kind of gives you a natural ebb and flow. So I see the attraction. It's probably fun to watch. It's
amazing to watch, and the community behind it is. I've been saying a lot recently. I'm just like, I'm so thankful for the Dead by Daylight community. There are people with thousands of hours in this game who way better at this game than I am. They still come in the stream. They're just like, hey, like, you could probably do this, and it might help a little bit. Like, the Dead by Daylight community has been so immensely sweet to me. They have been so amazing and so just supportive of me in general. I'm just like, I'm just a kid who wears PJs, but you guys are so sweet and so kind. And everybody, like, the game itself used to be very, very toxic. It's still slightly toxic with what game is.
Well, I mean, it's a hunter-prey type game, like any of those multiplayer where there's a winner loser,
and with an end game chat. Yes. That's the big killer right there. But so it used to be a lot worse than it is now when I first started playing the game. But now now playing it. I guess I've just adapted maybe. I don't know. But the community itself, like the Twitch community of Dead by Daylight is so amazingly wholesome and sweet and just full of people who are always making me smile, whether I'm in their stream, whether they're in my stream, whether they don't even know I stream and I'm just hanging out as a viewer. It's like, hey, like, what's up? You're great. You're cute. I love you. Like, that's literally how I'd say everything in chat. I'm just like, you're wonderful. I love you. Like, you're great. So
what are your experiences with trolls in the game? Because so I come from a league background. Like, that's league I've spent. They recently gave you a way to find out how much you've played, like how long you've played, and that was a sobering moment for me.
Yeah, it's sometimes it like hits you and you're just like, darn.
Yeah, I was like, whoo! And then I was like, worth it. But there's definitely like a troll aspect that takes some getting used to. So like the first time you see a troll, it's like, oh my God, this sucks. I'm out. This is horrible. I feel awful about myself. I feel awful about, they told me I should delete the game and maybe I should. And then you realize like the trolling is such a small part of everybody. They're just the loudest part.
Mm-hmm.
So of like everybody that plays, maybe 10% are in that category.
Yep.
What was your experience? Like how did you overcome that obstacle in the game?
There were times like even today I got a little bit frustrated just because it was just, it's just a game. Sometimes I don't play as well as I want to play. Yeah. But the thing I always tell myself, I'm just like, just laugh it off. Just laugh at yourself. You screwed up. It's a video game. It's not the end of the world. If someone comments it and says, you're trash, I'll be like, yeah, I'm trash. I literally have a command in my stream that just makes a whole bunch of potatoes fly upon the screen because I say I'm a potato. Like I suck. Yeah. So, and I find a way to make myself laugh at it. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm still like, like hulking out, just angry. Yeah. But then I like take a moment. I'm just like, I'll be right back. Go get a bottle of water. I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm good. We're all good. Like, let's go again. Let's do it again. Let's try again. And the trolls, they're going to be there no matter what you do. It's just like Twitch trolls. They're going to come in. They're going to say something really stupid. You know what? You don't have to comment back. If you do, like, you can get in a fight with someone, but at the end of the day, it's just some person on the internet. Like, it's not a big deal. But I most of the time just try to laugh it off, try to address it as much as I can. Be like, yeah, I do suck at this game. Or sometimes like I'll do something that's kind of toxic and I'll be like, hey, sorry. Or yeah, I don't usually ever like personally attack somebody, but I'm just like, I'll do something like kind of dumb and I'll be like, oh well.
Yeah. So at TwitchCon this year, I went to the Stream Queens Dragging on Twitch panel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's a community, as you'd expect, that gets hit by a lot of trolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Deer, who is the head of the Stream Queens, so she's the one who kind of created the Stream Queens, had a great answer for like, how do you handle this toxicity that comes in? She's like, either ignore it or you play completely ignorant. And that's my favorite thing. So they say, if they say something horrible, you misread their comment. And then they have to repeat themselves. And if they do, you're like, oh, and you go misread it a different way. And it creates like entertainment and it doesn't give the troll any power. Because now they're like, no, I said you're a dumb boom.
Yeah.
Like, you love Dumbo? I love Dumbo. I love the ears. He flies around. It's great. He's so cute.
That's a good one.
It's a really clever, and you can't commit to it without smiling yourself.
Right.
Which takes away all the power because it's no longer, it's like, okay, you're being the silly one.
Right. Yeah. You're just messing around.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't do it as often as I think. Like, I kind of I don't put it together fast enough to be able to do that. There are times where I'll just like, people come in and I'll just be like, hey, they'll just be super toxic. Like, I hope you're having a great day. I'll literally just kill them with kindness. Or there's other times where they'll just be like, they'll say something really stupid. And I don't know if this is going to work over this call, but we're going to try. But I'll just be like,
well, thank you very much. Now you can get out of my chat.
One of my big aha moments, and there's a streamer, Excessive Profanity, who's glorious. He's great to watch if you can find the time that he's on.
Mm-hmm.
And he very much like somebody will come in and do something that is against one of his rules. And he's got absolutely some great rules and some rules that are very specific to him.
Yeah.
Which you might not know if you were from somewhere else. And if you keep breaking them, be like, look, you've decided to come into my living room and hang out with me. That doesn't mean that I have to let you troll my community, let you do this, because you're coming to spend time with me.
Right.
And like that realization of like, oh, I don't have to play to everybody that comes in is a really empowering moment. Like it's like, oh yeah, this is my stream.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my community.
Yeah.
And that was a big one. That was a cool, like, oh yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's a great thing. You just like, I'm usually very lenient with stuff. Like if someone comes in and they didn't know, like they accidentally said things. Like I've had problems with links in the past, so my bot instantly purges links. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like once you have 5 hours in stream, you can post as many links as you want. Like I'll happily look at the links. I can still see the links that you post. I can still click on them. But I've had problems with people posting just really stupid links in my chat. So my bot's just like, no, you can't do that. But I'm never like, unless you're saying something like outright racist or just homophobic or just absolutely terrible. And you're like, just, that's instantly just like, get out. Just like,
if you're there for the specific reason to anger people.
Yeah.
Then it's pretty easy because you're like, okay, your kicks are literally just making people upset and then laughing at them being upset. And that's not, if I kick you out of here, you'll just go do that somewhere else.
And I mean, it's very obvious for people who've been streaming for a long time. It's like when someone comes in like with a really stupid name that they're just trying to get you to read and say something stupid out loud. You're like, oh. But I mean, the first time I did that and I accidentally said something really bad because someone wrote a stupid name, I like freaked out. Now I'm just like, delete the video, ban the person from the chat, like delete any clips they made, just get it over with. Like people are they're gonna be trolls, they're gonna be mean, but there's also people who like physically they didn't understand, or maybe they didn't read your rules. I don't always read rules before I go into stream. There's some PG streamers that I watch that sometimes I'll accidentally let something slip. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. So.
Well, and we're spending a ton of time on the trolls, which wasn't an intention of mine. But
no worries.
One of the really fascinating things for me to watch is I've seen streamers who are incredible at converting trolls to followers.
Mm-hmm.
And, the troll come in and say something that's not so over the top. They're just like, no, obviously your whole thing is pushing the boundary.
Right.
But they'll say something that was intentionally meant to be, semi-trolly. That's how they communicate. And the streamer's able to be like, oh, well, that's an interesting comment. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Right.
And, 10 minutes later, the person's like, yeah, a lot of times people don't get my sense of humor. So I really appreciate that you took the time and I love what you're doing. And then they end up following and it ends up being like, they end up being a really good part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because the streamer was able to take that step back and be like, all right, look, I get where you're coming from. But again, like that's not the like crazy over the top. That's the like, hey, yeah, I came here to screw with you.
Yeah.
Oh, and you didn't flip out on it. Well, that's interesting. That's unique.
Yeah.
Let's go through that.
Yeah. Especially like it happens for me a lot. Whenever I play the game, I put live in my name. So in case there's like someone who's like in the game, they want to come say, hey, like they can't. I don't care if they do or not, but they can't. But then there'll be the people who are like super toxic and come in. Like there was one guy, he absolutely just demolished my team. He came in and I was just like, man, you absolutely killed us. And he just like, I was kind of taken aback. He's like, you took that so well. And I get that a lot. I get all the killers who come in, they're just like, you took that so well. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, I play this game a lot. Like, I try not to, like, sometimes I'll get upset, but a lot of time I'm just like, you know what? Life goes on. It's just the game.
Yep.
But, like, even one of my friends, his name is Unwanted Skidmark. And the first time he came into my stream, I was just like,
yeah, oh God, here's this guy.
But I was just like, hey, nice name. And he was just like, and he still comes around, still a good dude. So.
That's awesome. Every hero has an obstacle. So, like, Batman is afraid of bats.
Right.
Superman has his kryptonite.
Right.
You went over yours, which was the time prior to your sharing. will you just go over again real quick with your story on, this obstacle that you had and how you overcame it?
So my big thing was I've never been a person to do anything well half-assed. I go all in or don't do anything at all. So I was going to school. I was going to school full time. I was also working full time. I was working in a restaurant as a waiter and a host, and I was working about 30 hours, 35 hours a week. And then I was going to school and I was taking 18 credits, which is above the usual average. So, and I had just gotten to the point where my body was just so stressed out and so tired. And I was just around people that were not good for me. They just weren't great people in general. And my head just spun. I went to a dark place. It was not a good time. I luckily enough had amazing people who helped me get through there. But then and that was the biggest obstacle for me. I felt like I hit rock bottom moment. I have nothing to build on. My anxiety was so bad I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't really have any friends to talk to. I was living on my own, so I wasn't really that close with my family. And I felt very alone. I had my girlfriend at the time, and my girlfriend still, and she was pretty much the only thing I had. And I felt bad because I was just like, I don't have anything else. And it was awful. It was probably one of the worst moments, but then slowly but surely through streaming and there were some other things, I felt myself come back. It was kind of like I felt my body, my soul, like come back into my body. I felt like revitalized. I felt, like I wasn't just this dull human. Like I kind of felt like myself again. I wanted to, go dance around a grocery store and just go be an idiot. I didn't want to, just sit in bed all day and rewatch the same episodes of the same shows over and over again. So,
who was your hero growing up? So mine was, I loved Darkwing Duck.
Okay.
And I loved He-Man. I loved Darkwing because his heart was always in the right place, but he wasn't actually a superhero. Like he kept screwing things up. And it was his niece that would do the good stuff, or Launchpad would do. And so he was always trying to do well and was super excited about himself doing well, but he wasn't really all that special in of himself.
Right.
And then He-Man, man, the sword and the running around, the atom.
You can't go wrong with He-Man.
The split personality, like not split personality, but the dual personality that looks the exact same. That was my jam.
So my biggest hero, as you can tell, I have a Spider-Man poster on the back of the wall. I have 2 anime posters back there. If anybody who's watching this has seen My Hero Academia or Naruto. But I'm very stereotypically in love and have always looked up to just the traditional hero model, but in a sense that related to me. Both Spider-Man, Midoriya from My Hero Academia, and Naruto from Naruto are all characters that were young and, they were all kind of looked down on. They didn't have a trait that society deemed worthy. And, Peter Parker was a nerd and everybody kind of just like pushed down on him. I'm still a small kid. I was very small and scrawny and I didn't hit 5 foot until like my freshman year of high school, maybe. I probably didn't hit 100 pounds until then either. And I just looked up to all these people that were, they weren't cool in a general sense, but they had such big hearts and just always wanted to do the right thing and make people smile. They just had this goodness within them that just overflowed, even if they were, pushed down and everybody told them like, you're a nerd, like you suck, like in a traditional sense. But I empathize with these people. I'm just like, this is who I am. Like, I feel like I'm a person who just wants to make the world a better place. Even if I'm small and scrawny and everyone tells me, you're short and bullied me for God knows what, or I had glasses and braces at the same time. That was a whole ordeal. But so I would say Spider-Man was a big one for me just because I'm stereotypical and I love Spider-Man. Also, just Stanley. This is actually a Stanley poster right here. You can't really tell because it's like hidden. But Stanley created Spider-Man, and he always stood up for the little guy. He always wanted to make the world a better place. No matter what he was doing, at the end of the day, he wanted to make things brighter for everyone. And that was pretty cool. And I still remember my dad first introduced me to Stan Lee, and like I think it was the Fantastic Four, the first one. He was like, "That's Stan Lee." I was like, "Wait, who's Stan Lee?" He's like, "He's the guy who created Marvel." I'm like, what? So I was like this little kid, and then from then on, I always looked for the Stan Lee cameo. And when I got older, I started reading up on all the stuff he did, like Stan Lee's Soapbox, and all of the amazing stuff that that he did. And he was always an inspiration for me. And he created my favorite superhero. He created Spider-Man, this character that if I could crawl on walls, I would go around New York City and be Spider-Man as well, because why not? That'd be awesome. And I would get to save people. And I just want to, I don't know. I've always wanted to just put smiles on people's faces, even if it's with slapstick comedy, because I make terrible jokes. So I just pratfall and do all that crap to make everyone else laugh. So,
at the Matrix Card, our slogan is creating unstoppable heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that everybody has a hero inside of them. The question is whether they can see it themselves. And then the question is always, well, what makes a hero? What makes an unstoppable hero? Mm-hmm. And your description of what a hero is completely in line with what I think a hero is. And that's somebody who does the little things to try to make the world a better place. They're not infallible. They're not perfect, but that they consistently do things to try to make other people's lives just a little bit better. It doesn't have to be the giant gesture, just a little bit at a time. Mm-hmm. And then an unstoppable hero is somebody who, when they get knocked down, that they're resilient, that they get back up. They know not know when to ask, that they're willing to ask for help.
Right.
We all need help.
Right.
And that they're the ones that when they climb the wall, they reach back behind them to help other people climb the wall. Mm-hmm. That's our kind of definition of a hero. And it sounds like, well, what's your current definition of a hero?
I mean, my definition of hero is very similar to that. I think it's the person that they go out of their way, no matter what the situations are, even if they physically can't. They do their absolute best to go out of their way to think about somebody else, to be empathetic, to put themselves in someone else's shoes and be like, hey, how would I feel if I'm like this? What can I do to make this better? Whether it be traditional hero sense, like stopping crime and saving people from a falling cliff, or whether it be a sense of people who are struggling, making them smile and doing anything that you can to brighten up their day. I think just being a hero is being the best person that you can be, but not for yourself. Of course, focus on yourself, but be who you want to be to help other people, to be a greater influence than just on yourself, than just, if you look back at your life and you think, oh, I did this, 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 and this for me, those, you feel good in the moment, but the best feeling I will always feel is doing something for someone else. I don't like receiving gifts half as much as I love giving gifts. I love seeing people's faces open up when I'm just like, here. Or I even sometimes I still do this. And I always go to drive-thrus. And when I have extra money, I'll throw 20 to the person and say, hey, pay for next person behind me. And then I'll just drive off. It's just doing the little things, but just having other people in mind and just trying your best to make life easier for everybody.
I mean, you are a hero to me. The things you do, how you go about it, you
guys are heroes to me. So,
well, about that, now you're a Vanguard streamer,
right? That's
why did you decide to join us and become a Vanguard streamer?
There's a couple reasons why I decided to be a Vanguard streamer. One, this one is probably the most shallow of them. I have seen my mother do a lot of things, and not once have I ever seen her fail so much that she never gets back up. So no matter where this is going, no matter how well this happens, I know that woman will not stop. She will keep going. She will keep trying. She will extend every possible option. And at the end of the day, I have never seen her fail. I have seen her just prosper and create amazing things. And I've always looked up to my mom in that sense. She's always stuck to her goals and really been very proud. Also, if anybody doesn't know, my mother's the fairy card mother. She's one of the founders of the Matrix card. But one of the other things is I have always been an advocate for mental health and helping. I mean, I've had mental health problems, and I think a lot of the stigma nowadays is that mental health is, there's not as much of a stigma as there was in the past, but mental health is kind of irrelevant. You'll just feel better. Like, just feel better. Just be okay. It's like, that's not how it works. And there's a lot of people out there who don't have, traditional healthcare in a sense, or they can't get the help that they need, and they can't get the help that will make them feel better. And they're just kind of stuck in this like endless loop of like, you wake up and you're just like, I've been there. I've woken up one day every day and I'm just like, this sucks. And I don't want anyone to have to wake up like that. And if there's anything that I can do to help people feel better, I'm going to do it. And I think becoming a Vanguard streamer is one of the best ways to do it. All right. So once again, I am Bennett, or PJLily. I stream on Twitch about 5 to 6 days a week, starting at usually 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, but most likely 1 p.m. because I'm lazy and I don't like to get out of bed. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I usually stream for about 5-6 hours, about 5 to 6 days a week. I stream Dead by Daylight. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/PJLily. No underscores, anything like that, just PJLily. And then you can find me on Twitter at PJLily16. And I don't have a YouTube or anything like that. If you're in my stream, you can always join our Discord, which is always a fun place to hang out. We have cute pictures of animals and a lot of food. Everything else is, okay. But food and animals, that's why I'm still in my own Discord.
That's why Discord is a thing, is for food and animals.
It's literally food and animals. The internet, it revolves around food and animals. Like, you don't scroll through Twitter for whatever. You scroll through for food and animals. But yeah, that's me. Once again, I'm Bennett, or PJLily.
Well, sir, thank you.
Of course. Thank you as well. This was awesome. Super fun.
Look forward to all the good stuff that's happening.
Lots of good stuff.